Welcome to CC4Teams Extended Application Navigation for Supervisors. As a supervisor, you'll have multiple tabs at the top. You'll have My Interactions, where you can deal with agents' activities. You'll have All Interactions to view all of your agents' activities, and you'll have Agents Activities to view all of your agents' statuses and etc., including history. We'll start with My Interactions. So My Interactions is essentially where supervisors can function as an agent to answer calls, respond to emails, and manage just like an agent. Whereas all interactions will show agents handling different interactions for different queues, including different omni-channel queues as well. So stuff like email, WhatsApp, and etc. Now, waiting interactions is essentially where you will see all of your interactions from customers. So these will be interactions where customers have called into the queue or sent an email. You'll also have a list here of voicemails as well. So voicemails are voicemails for the queues that you're assigned. Now, remember, as being a supervisor, you'll only be able to see the interactions which you are a supervisor for that. Supervisors also have the ability to cherry pick calls and emails and interactions essentially from this side over here. Looking over at my active interactions. So this is where you'll see different calls. The first column over here will show the customer's details. Queue, this is the queue they've come through. Status is the status of the call. So whether it is assigned to an agent, it's been cold transferred or warm transferred to a different individual. Agent, essentially this is where you'll see different details. So you'll see your agents handling calls. But say the call was cold transferred externally, this is where you'll see the phone number that it was transferred to. You'll also have a timer where you can see how long that interaction has been dealt with for. When hovering over actions on a call, you will have the ability to listen into the call. You'll also have the ability to barge into a call as well. If, however, there was an agent in the call, you'll have an extra button over on the right to be able to whisper to the agent via Teams chat. Selecting one of the interactions that involves a voice call. By selecting listen, this will essentially present you a toaster pop-up where you can then join into the call and listen. So you simply hit the phone symbol and the call will continue on with the agent. However, if it was an email interaction, a little bit differently. So if you hit listen will allow you to actually read the email to see what is going on with the correspondence. You can then go back to all interactions, cold transfer and cold transfer to queue. Pretty simple. Cold transfer will take this email off this individual and then give it to another individual by hitting the transfer. See, transferring from agent, and that is coming to me as an agent. And join into a queue, joining the queue will put it into another queue, so that way the next available agent will be able to handle that correspondent. The next tab over is the agent's activity. So agent's activity will show all of the agents that are a part of the queues that you are managing. You have the ability to filter. So on the top right, you can either filter by their status, so if they're online or offline. You'll also have options for has client or doesn't. So has client means that the user or the individual is signed into CC4Teams, whereas doesn't means that they're not signed in. And then you have the ability to see if they're joined into queues. So if anyone's joined into queues, you'll see which users are actually joined into queues, but then you can also separate by not joined. So all of these agents here are not joined into any of your queues, but are members, meaning that you can go ahead and add them into your queue. You also have the ability to sort agents by statuses and then desire routing. Desire routing we'll explain a little bit later. The next filter over is filtering by queues. So you can filter which agents are members of which queue. You can either multi-select or select all at once and then hit reset to go back to normal. The icon of the toggle wheel up the top, this essentially will show you estimated wait times that have currently happened for each queue. These correspond with your announcements. So there is an estimated wait time announcement in your queues or possibility of there being one. If there isn't, this won't matter, but you will see the estimated wait time. However, if you wanted to change that estimated wait time, so say currently your expected wait time is 1 minute. However, I wanted to tell customers that your expected wait time is 10 minutes. That is when I would change that there. And then you can hit the little reset button if you don't want that. Offer calls to agent without the client. So this corresponds with the client line here and also the clients signed into CC4Teams. So if agents are not signed into CC4Teams, but you want to offer them the call still, which means it just comes through as a Teams call, this is when you would toggle these options on. The first column over is your agents column. With the agents column, you can actually click on their initials to change their present state. Remember, when changing their present state, You'll also see the column for the status timer. This will reset every time their present state is changed. Statuses between CC4Teams are in sync, so when you do change their CC4Teams presence, that will also change their Teams presence, as you can see up the top. So if I switch myself here to available, this will also change my team status to available along with my CC4Teams. The next line over is skills. So if you are using skill-based routing in the backend, you'll be able to see which skills have been assigned to this user. You'll also see the next column over, which is last handled interaction. So this is the last date and time that this agent has actually answered an interaction with a customer. Workload percentage. Workload will show how many emails and how many calls do they currently have assigned to them. Reasons. So this is the extra reasons that are given. So if you are using one of the CC4Teams customizable statuses, you'll see that pictured here, including other reasons that aren't in that list, like in a Teams call or in a CC4Teams call. Those reasons will populate here as well. Clients active. This means that they're signed into CC4Teams. So if it shows a tick, they're signed in. If it is a line, they are not signed in. The next column over. So this is to do with desire routing. So desire routing essentially is a 3-tiered leveled routing. So this is dependent on how much calls you want to go through the agent. If you select an agent as high, that would then mean that all calls available will go to this agent if they're available. If they're not available, it will then overflow to the normal users that are selected. And if neither the high or normal is available, it will then overflow to the low. So it's essentially a 3-leveled routing mechanism that supervisors can do on the fly. Join to. Join to will show what queues those agents are connected to. So if they're joined into the queue, they're ready to take calls or interactions from customers. Simply the queues listed next to them are queues that they are a member of. If they are ticked, it means they are in that queue and ready to take interaction. You'll also see a little dot symbol beside these queues. This is where you can actually select the desired routing for each queue individually. So if each queue has a different desire for each agent, you can change that. However, if you leave everybody as normal, this will go through your normal routing process, which will either be skill-based routing or longest item. You then also have the option to use simultaneous ringing, so ring everybody at once. Remember, desire routing will also affect this. So if you have 3 people selected as high and the rest as normal, it will ring everybody in high first, and then it will ring everybody in normal second. Now moving on to history. History will not only show the supervisor's history, this will also show all agents are part of their queue. So like an agent can only see their own history and interactions with customers, whereas a supervisor will have the ability to see everybody's interaction. The way to differentiate it is if you hover over handled, it will show which agent has actually handled that interaction. If it hasn't been handled, it will show it as unhandled, which will be the cross. You'll also see stuff like the date, the time, and durations for those calls, and you can also call them back and also reopen an old interaction. Supervisors also have the capabilities of an agent, so please refer to the agent navigation to learn more about that.